In this recording, we're going to assess the relationship between sociology and social policy. A social policy is a plan or an action of government agencies which aim to improve or reform society. Sociologists are divided as to whether there should be a relationship between sociology and government policy. Some groups believe that sociology should be applied to society and it should be used to directly influence governments to bring about reforms. However, other groups would argue that sociological insights should be used to radically change the political and economic system and that they should not be used to reform the system. Positivists and functionalists believe that sociology should be used to reform social policy. Early positivists saw sociology as a science that would discover cause of social problems. Functionalists see society as based on value consensus. The job of sociologists is therefore to provide the state with objective information on which it can base its policies. And functionalists favour piecemeal social engineering. Sociology should be involved in politics to provide scientific information. For instance, they should influence policies such as those supporting the nuclear family, and functionalists would also support educational policies that allow for the bond of society to represent cultural values such as the teaching of RE and history, because they represent the values, norms, beliefs and goals that were set forth by Durkheim to represent the bonding of individuals in society. However, Marxists and feminists would argue that there is conflict in society and we need to challenge the existing power structures. They argue that functionalists do not utilitize their power they hold for the better. The Social Democrats believe that sociology should influence social policy because they want a redistribution of wealth and income. Sociology should research social problems and recommend policies to eradicate them. For instance, Townsend studied issues like poverty with the view to make recommendations to government for social policies to reduce poverty, and he gave anti-poverty policies to Labour in the 1960s. Also, housing may have helped to accelerate the expansion of comprehensions. However, Marxists would argue that the Social Democrat view is naive, as the capitalist state will never bring in changes that will radically redistribute income and wealth. The welfare state is an illusion because it gives the impression of equal opportunities and it simply hides the extent of inequality as it is a concession to prevent a revolution. Moreover, liberal feminists also support the idea that social policy should influence sociology because they argue that social policies can be used to aid those less off than the majority of society, so that's women. They believe that patriarchy is prevalent in society, but views can be changed through negotiation, such as the Equal Pay Act and the same-sex partnership. They have led to educational changes like GIST and domestic violence being taken more seriously. However, radical feminists argue that reformist policies don't liberate women as they promote separatism. Moreover, traditional and neo-Marxists believe that social policies legitimize capitalism and they are introduced for the benefit of the ruling class. The government masks what is really going on and is never truthful as to why they're introducing each of the policies. Policies that look good, such as health and safety laws, are disguised to the public as the ruling class ensures that their workers are fit to work. These policies ameliorate supposed social problems by making the problem more manageable without actually solving the problem. Governments do this to stop major social changes and to prevent a revolution. Sociologists would reveal the exploitation that underpins capitalism and the way the ruling class use social policies to mask exploitation. However, social democrats would argue that sociological research can help to bring about progressive policies within the capitalist system. For example, Sure Start raised thousands of children out of illiteracy at a young age. Also, Marxists believe that true equality will come when there is no ruling class, but their views on social policies have been branded as unrealistic and unachievable in modern-day society. Moreover, the new right believed that sociology should influence policies, as the state should have very limited involvement in society, and policy should be based around this aim. Policy should support the nuclear family, as this will reduce the need for state support. Policies like marketisation of schools and the creation of academies are linked to the new right. These policies had a direct influence on other areas of schooling, such as the ending of Sure Start. Also, Wilson advocated a zero-tolerance view of crime, and more power should be given to the police. They are in favour of marketing the police and giving policing contracts to private companies, and you can see this has happened in London. However, marketisation in education may have widened educational inequalities, and recent decades have provided no evidence for a success of trickle-down economies, as the UK income and wealth inequality has widened. So, in terms of the third way, Giddens advised New Labour after 1997 by combining left and right approaches. For instance, New Labour adopted marketisation in education by also introducing policies to reduce the inequality of opportunities, such as education and maintenance allowances. They made benefits more generous, but at the same time, some were harder to get. Furthermore, postmodernists like Lyotard believe that social policies are pointless, as there is such a level of individualism within society that means that they are ineffective and useless, as people can now almost pick and mix which policies they wish to follow. Nothing is now certain, and nothing can be relied on to be true, meaning that common definitions used by policies are incorrect, and therefore are ineffective. Therefore, to pass policies that can influence society in any way, definitions must be found for common occurrences such as crime or the family. And postmodernists believe that this cannot be done, meaning that social policies are pointless. However, their view is highly vague, whereby everything has to be defined, leading to an infinite loop that cannot be stopped. So in conclusion, there is a division between those who think sociology should be value-free, such as the functionalists, and those who believe it should try to improve the world, such as Goldner. Also, it's not easy to measure the influence of sociology because many decisions are made behind closed doors.